It has been a minute, 2 years to be exact, since Young Thug got caught up in that RICO case and got thrown behind bars. But now, word on the street is that Young Thug's living conditions are straight up foul and grimy.
Mr. Williams is held in a cement, small area. There's a light on all the time.
His lawyer has been on the grind, trying to get him out on bond, but it has been a whole struggle. And according to the jail official,
but this is a jail. It is a detention center. It's not the Ritz-Carlton.
We know it is not Ritz-Carlton. Neither did Thug think he was signing up for a 5-star experience. But how about his human rights? Are they being violated behind bars? Let's take a dive into the video. Inhumane prison treatments. Renowned rapper Young Thug's attorney, Brian Steele, has recently made alarming claims about the rapper's current incarceration. According to Steele, Young Thug is being held in dungeon-like jail conditions that can only be described as inhumane and torturous.
The attorney for Young Thug is asking the court to grant the rapper bond again. He filed a motion saying the 31-year-old is not able to stay healthy, also saying the rapper has access to limited healthy food options and relies on food like chocolate and chips.
In May 2023, Young Thug, the renowned rapper, spoke up about the inhumane and unimaginable conditions he was facing behind bars. His attorney, Brian Steele, has filed an emergency motion, shedding light on the dungeon-like jail conditions that Young Thug has been subjected to. Steele claims that the conditions Young Thug is subjected to are not only inhumane, but also bordering on torture. Imagine being confined to a windowless cement compartment with only a bed and a toilet. That's the reality Young Thug has been living in. The filing describes the cell as a place devoid of any natural light, with an overhead light that remains on 24 hours a day. This constant illumination prevents any chance of sleep, rest, or even a moment of meditation. The rapper is reportedly deprived of any contact with the outside world, including limited access to phone calls or visits from loved ones. These conditions have prevented him from getting any sleep, rest, or meditation, with an overhead light that remains on 24 hours a day. Furthermore, Young Thug has been denied access to any type of media, including TV and the internet, and has had no opportunities for exercise, showering, or human contact except for his attorneys. The motion seeks an expeditious bond hearing or placement in a non-tortuous environment for the rapper. Furthermore, the lack of basic amenities in the jail has raised serious concerns about the well-being of Young Thug. Reports suggest that the facility fails to provide adequate sanitation facilities, leaving the rapper to endure unsanitary conditions. The absence of proper hygiene measures poses a significant risk to his health and overall well-being. In addition to the physical conditions, Young Thug's attorney has also expressed concerns about the treatment the rapper receives from the correctional staff. Steele claims that his client is subjected to verbal abuse and harassment, further exacerbating the already dire situation. The alleged mistreatment by the staff only adds to the distress and mental anguish Young Thug experiences while being held captive. One of the key arguments put forth by Steele is that Young Thug's current conditions of confinement go against the 8th and 14th Amendments of the United States Constitution, which prohibit states from inflicting cruel and unusual punishment. Steele contends that subjecting the rapper to a small, windowless cell with limited access to necessities and sanitation facilities is a clear violation of this fundamental right. Furthermore, Steele argues that the conditions Young Thug is facing hinder his ability to prepare for his legal defense adequately. The lack of access to legal resources, including a private space to consult with his attorney, limits the rapper's ability to effectively participate in his defense. This raises concerns about the fairness of the legal proceedings and the potential impact on Young Thug's future. Exactly a year after Steele spoke up, he again expressed his concerns about the rapper's condition. In a statement to the publication, Steele revealed, "I know he's had some difficulty of a similar sort at the Cobb County Jail a few months ago, and so I'm concerned about his well-being." Young Thug's lawyers had previously voiced their concerns about his exhaustion during a bond hearing in April. They highlighted the rapper's struggles with fatigue, shedding light on the challenging conditions he has been facing while in custody. It has been reported that Young Thug has been relying on a diet of chocolate and chips due to the lack of better food options in jail. The implications of these conditions on Young Thug's mental and emotional well-being cannot be overlooked. Steele highlights the psychological toll that prolonged isolation and mistreatment can have on an individual. The rapper's mental health is at risk as he endures the harsh realities of his confinement, potentially impacting his ability to cope and contribute to his defense. Moreover, Steele argues that the conditions Young Thug is facing may have long-lasting consequences on his career and personal life. life. The negative publicity surrounding his confinement and the potential impact on his mental health could hinder his ability to create and perform music, ultimately affecting his livelihood and prospects. As we know, Young Thug is one of the 10 co-defendants standing trial in the YSL RICO case, which alleges their involvement in a violent street gang in Atlanta. With his absence from the court hearing, the trial takes an unexpected turn, leaving legal experts and the public speculating about the potential implications for the case. To refute the claims made by Young Thug's attorney, Cobb County Jail invited a news crew inside the facility to showcase what they call an above-board jail.
The purpose of today was to let the community know that we're not doing anything that we don't want them to see. We're running an above-board jail. And we want anybody and everybody to know that.
Colonel Demetrius Atkins, a jail official, gave the crew a tour of Young Thug's cell, stating that it is a typical cell for the area. The purpose of this tour was to assure the community that the jail was running transparently and lawfully. According to Colonel Atkins, the conditions inside the jail are far from the dungeon-like environment described by Young Thug's attorney. He emphasized that the tour's purpose was to let the community know that they were not hiding anything and that the jail was operating within the bounds of the law. The news crew was shown Young Thug's cell, which appeared clean and well-maintained.
This would be the typical cell for this area. It doesn't have the mattress that would be in there because it's not currently occupied by anyone.
Another jail official offered a sassy response to Young Thug's complaints, stating,
But this is a jail. It is a detention center. It's not the Ritz-Carlton.
It's a reminder that jails are designed to confine individuals who have been accused or convicted of crimes rather than provide luxurious accommodations. The jail officials argue that Young Thug is being held in isolation for his safety due to his celebrity profile. They claim that this measure is necessary to protect him from potential harm from other inmates. While isolation may seem harsh, it is not uncommon for high-profile individuals to be separated from the general population to ensure their safety. They acknowledge that the conditions in the jail may not be ideal, but they maintain that they are operating within the confines of the law. The question remains, are the conditions Young Thug is facing truly inhumane, or are they simply a reflection of the realities of incarceration? RICO case against YSL and Young Thug. YSL, short for Young Stoner Life, is the collective name for Young Thug's crew, consisting of talented artists and producers. They were known for their distinctive sound and their ability to push boundaries within the hip-hop genre. However, as YSL's reputation grew, so did the rumors of their involvement in illicit activities. Prosecutors would later argue that YSL was not just a hip-hop collective, but a dangerous street gang engaged in various criminal enterprises. In the spring of 2022, the music industry was rocked by the news that Young Thug, the influential rapper from Atlanta, had been charged alongside 27 of his alleged affiliates with 56 violations of Georgia's Racketeer-Influenced and Corrupt Organizations (RICO) Act. On that very same day, Thug was taken into custody from his home and booked in the Fulton County Jail, later being transferred to Cobb County. The search of his home yielded evidence that led to 7 additional felony charges. These charges have put Young Thug at a tipping point, with his music career and the future of his label, Young Stoner Life, YSL, hanging in the balance. Young Thug himself is specifically named in counts 1 and 56 of the indictment. Count 1 charges him with conspiracy to violate RICO, while count 56 accuses him of participation in criminal street gang activity. According to the indictment, between May 2018 and May 2022, Young Thug is alleged to have occupied a position of leadership within YSL and to have been directly or indirectly involved in acts of murder, aggravated assault, armed robbery, theft, and the sale of controlled substances, among others. The indictment further alleges that Young Thug committed 36 overt acts in furtherance of the conspiracy. These acts include terroristic threats and possession of controlled substances with the intent to distribute. It's important to note that while Young Thug is portrayed as the mastermind behind YSL, he is not directly charged with any violent crimes, but the indictment goes even further, naming a total of 28 men, including Young Thug, Gunna, Yak Gotti, and Unfunk, Thug's older brother, as members of Young Slime Life, a criminal street gang with alleged ties to the Bloods. The indictment accuses all defendants of 56 felony counts, charging them with conspiracy to violate Georgia's Racketeer-Influenced and Corrupt Organizations (RICO) Act. One of the key plot points in this case is the emergence of a secret organization known as the Syndicate. This underground network is believed to be responsible for orchestrating a wide range of criminal activities, including drug trafficking, money laundering, and even acts of violence. The Syndicate allegedly operated under the guise of YSL and used the fashion brand as a front front to carry out their illicit operations. The timeline of events is both intriguing and disturbing. It is alleged that the collaboration between YSL and Young Thug provided the perfect cover for the syndicate to expand its criminal empire. The fashion shows and music videos became elaborate productions, but behind the scenes, a darker reality was unfolding. One of the most shocking acts attributed to YSL and Young Thug is their alleged involvement in a massive drug trafficking operation. It is believed that they used their influence and connections within the industry to smuggle drugs across international borders, using the fashion brand's distribution channels as a means to transport illegal substances. As the investigation deepens, law enforcement agencies are uncovering more evidence linking YSL, Young Thug, and their associates to a series of high-profile crimes. The alleged money laundering schemes involved the funneling of illicit funds through various channels, including shell companies and offshore accounts. The extent of their involvement and the amount of money involved is still being determined, but the implications are staggering. The evidence presented in the indictment also included a combination of social media posts, prison calls, song lyrics, and appearances in music videos.
So the problem I really have with the lyrics from rap music is we don't do that with other types of entertainment or artistry. And that's really my problem.
The indictment cites lyrics from 10 songs, social media posts, and appearances in music videos as evidence of the defendant's involvement in gang activity. Some of the mentioned lyrics are from Young Thug's songs like Anybody and tracks from YSL's album Slime Language 2 in 2020. For example, they point to a song called Ew, released on April 20th, 2014, where Young Thug said things like, "Red just like Elmo, but I never giggle, YSL won't fold, pick his off from the balcony, YSL wipe a nose, I'm a for the cash, then she getting robbed by Tip, in a Bentley on West Lee getting trailed by Sniper, and all I ever wanted was the money, put your hands in the air if you dare, any motherfucker to step over here, F and N put him in a wheelchair." The prosecutors consider this as part of the conspiracy. They claim that these lyrics contain coded messages and references to criminal activities, serving as proof of YSL's involvement in illegal enterprises. The defense, led by Young Thug's legal team, vehemently denied.
Rap music has been birthed by the struggle of the inner city, poverty-stricken, oftentimes people of color. And why are we targeting that group rather than a writer who talks about a killing or drug dealing?
They argue that YSL is simply a group of artists expressing themselves through music, and that the lyrics should be interpreted as artistic expression rather than evidence of criminal intent.
This is the environment that he grew up in. These are the people he knew. These are the stories he knew. These are the words that he rhymed. This is art. This is freedom of speech in America.
The RICO Act, originally signed into federal law in 1970, was designed to prosecute organized crime and corporate malfeasance. Its primary purpose was to dismantle criminal enterprises by targeting the leaders and members involved in a pattern of racketeering activities. The act gained notoriety during the 80s and 90s, as it was successfully used to prosecute prominent mafia figures. Georgia, like 33 other states, has its own version of the RICO Act, which allows the state to define racketeering more broadly than federal prosecutors, and requires evidence of a single overt act to tie a defendant to the conspiracy. The potential consequences of up to 40 years in prison loom over Young Thug, leaving fans and industry insiders uncertain about the future of his music and the label he built from the ground up. Young Thug's ongoing trials. Young Thug is at a tipping point, maybe a permanent one, for his music career and Young Stoner Life, the label he built from the ground up in his hometown of Atlanta. In the spring of 2022, the rapper was charged alongside 27 of his alleged affiliates with 56 violations of Georgia's racketeer-influenced and corrupt organizations, RICO Act. He's been cast by prosecutors as the criminal mastermind of Young Slime Life, a gang prosecutors claim was active from 2012. It was a shocking development for fans of Thug, a hugely popular artist and one of the most influential rappers of his generation. If found guilty, he faces up to 40 years in prison. Since May of last year, Young Thug has been held in Cobb County Jail, awaiting the proposed January 9th start date of his court proceedings. However, the trial has faced extensive delays as Fulton County Superior Court Judge Ural Glanville conducts an extensive juror search, making it the longest trial in Georgia's history. One of the primary challenges in finding an unbiased jury stems from Young Thug's polarizing public image. As a highly influential and controversial figure in the music industry, Thug has amassed a a dedicated fan base, as well as a fair share of critics. This level of notoriety makes it difficult to find potential jurors who do not have strong pre-existing opinions about the rapper and his music. The duration of the trial has also posed challenges in finding jurors who can commit the necessary time. With a projected duration of 6 to 9 months, the trial demands a significant commitment from those selected. To accommodate potential hardships faced by jurors, Georgia law allows individuals summoned for jury duty to file hardship claims if work or child care obligations prevent them from serving. Judge Glanville has diligently reviewed hundreds of hardship applications, ensuring that each case is carefully considered. However, the selection process has not been without its complications. Several courtroom incidents have further delayed the proceedings. One incident involved an alleged hand-to-hand drug exchange between Young Thug and his co-defendant Califf Adams. Another incident resulted in the detainment of a prospective juror caught recording court proceedings. Additionally, a defense attorney was arrested for carrying prescription drugs into the courtroom. As the trial unfolds in Atlanta, Young Thug stands accused of a multitude of charges, including racketeering conspiracy, gang-related offenses, drug crimes, and gun crimes. The prosecution, led by Fulton County prosecutor Adrienne Love, argues that the gang YSL began about a decade ago in Atlanta's Cleveland Avenue neighborhood. It emerged from an internal rift in a preceding gang, with Young Thug eventually rising to become its leader. Cleveland Avenue, a neighborhood plagued by crime and poverty, became the breeding ground for the gang's activities. The prosecution contends that the gang members were associated in fact, using common identifiers, language, symbols, and colors. They knew who their leader was and the repercussions of not obeying him. The people who have been affected directly and indirectly by the gang's violence represent the lives swallowed up by that crater created by YSL in the Cleveland Avenue community. However, the defense, led by attorney Brian Steele, paints a different picture of Young Thug. They argued that he was born into poverty in a crime-ridden housing project, where he developed a strong distrust of the criminal justice system. When his family moved to the Cleveland Avenue area, Young Thug used his talent and worked hard to escape his circumstances. The prosecution has called upon several witnesses to testify against Young Thug and YSL. Individuals have come forward to claim that they have been victims of YSL's criminal activities. These witnesses allege instances of violence, drug dealing, and intimidation, all allegedly orchestrated by members of the rap crew. One witness, whose identity has been kept confidential for their safety, recounted a harrowing experience of being extorted by YSL members. They detailed the threats and violence they endured, providing a chilling glimpse into the alleged criminal operations of the rap crew. Another witness, a former associate of YSL, testified about their involvement in drug trafficking. They provided insight into the inner workings of the crew, shedding light on the alleged distribution networks and the role Young Thug played in these activities. On the defense side, Young Thug's legal team has called their witnesses to challenge the prosecution's claims. These witnesses include friends, family members, and industry professionals who vouch for Young Thug's character and artistic intentions. One witness, a close friend of Young Thug, testified about the rapper's dedication to his craft and his commitment to uplifting his community through music. They emphasized that Young Thug's lyrics should be interpreted as artistic expression rather than evidence of criminal behavior. Another witness, a music industry expert, provided an analysis of Young Thug's lyrics, arguing that they are open to interpretation and should not be taken literally. They highlighted the use of metaphor and wordplay commonly found in hip-hop music, urging the jury to consider the artistic nature of the songs. The most recent trial was on March 20th, 2024. The defense attorneys called Adrian Bean, a witness for the prosecution, to the stand. Bean, a seemingly ordinary individual, took his place in the witness box, unaware of the shocking turn his testimony would soon take. As the cross-examination began, it became apparent that something was amiss. Bean leaned forward with his eyes semi-closed, displaying signs of drowsiness. Sensing an opportunity, the defense attorneys pressed on, hoping to exploit any weakness in the witness's testimony. And then it happened.
Man, can I get a water or something? I'm so high right now, y'all. I'm about to go to sleep on y'all ass. I ain't gonna tell you no more.
The courtroom fell into a stunned silence as Adrian Bean's admission hung in the air. The lead prosecutor and district attorney Adrienne Love quickly approached the bench, seeking permission from Judge Earl Glanville to address the situation. Love handed Bean a bottle of water, while Young Thug's defense attorney Brian Steele inquired about Bean's ability to continue. The entire moment was captured in the live stream of the trial, leaving viewers around the world in disbelief. The revelation of Bean's intoxication on the witness stand raises questions about the credibility of his testimony and the impact impact it may have on the trial's outcome. Bean was called to testify by the prosecution as one of the key witnesses in establishing Young Thug's presence at the scene of a drive-by shooting that occurred on September 11, 2013. The prosecution's case hinges on proving Young Thug's involvement in the crime, and Bean's testimony was expected to play a crucial role in achieving that. However, the defense team seized the opportunity to cast doubt on Bean's reliability. Through their cross-examination, they suggested that the police had coerced Bean into implicating Young Thug. Furthermore, Bean's admission of struggling to recall key facts due to his history of drug use further weakened the prosecution's case. Plea deals. Several defendants involved in the case, including Gunna, made the decision to plead guilty to various charges before jury selection in December 2022. Gunna, whose real name is Sergio Kitchens, entered an offered plea on a single alleged count of conspiring to violate the RICO law. This unique type of plea allows defendants to maintain their innocence while recognizing that it is in their best interest not to go to trial. As a result of his guilty plea, Gunna was sentenced to 5 years in prison. However, 1 year of his sentence was commuted to time served, meaning he had already served that portion of his sentence. The remaining 4 years were suspended, providing a glimmer of hope for Gunna's future. In a statement issued by Gunna, he clarifies his position and asserts his commitment to truthfulness. He makes it clear that he has not made any statements, been interviewed, cooperated, or agreed to testify or be a witness for or against any party in the case. Gunna has no intention of being involved in the trial process in any way. Young Thug's older brother, Quantavious Greer, known as Unfunk, also pleaded guilty in the case. He admitted to 1 count of violating the RICO Act and 1 count of theft by receiving stolen property. This further implicates the involvement of Young Thug's inner circle in criminal activities. Another defendant, Trontavious Stevens, known as Tick, acknowledged his role as one of YSL's founding members and pleaded guilty to a RICO charge as part of a negotiated deal. This admission highlights the criminal actions committed by associates of the group. Antonio Sledge, known as Monk Tunk, also pleaded guilty to charges related to the RICO statute and a firearm charge. In court, he openly acknowledged that YSL is a criminal enterprise and admitted to committing several crimes on behalf of the group. Shockingly, prosecutors revealed that Sledge received money from Young Thug to lay low following the fatal shooting of a rival gang member. The trial surrounding rapper Young Thug and his associates is shaping up to be a spectacle that could span months and captivate the attention of the public. The lengthy jury selection process and numerous court hearings have already generated chaotic headlines, revealing the high stakes and drama surrounding the case. If you want to see more videos like this, click on one of the videos on the screen.